the February agenda briefing. The agenda briefing sessions are used to inform councillors on the items of business to be presented and discussed at the forthcoming ordinary council meeting. These meetings are open to members of the public who may request to present a deputation to council relating to an item on the agenda. No decisions are made at these meetings, although councillors can request additional information or alternative wording be provided to allow for motions to be prepared for consideration at the forthcoming ordinary council meeting. Any statement regarding any planning or development application made during an agenda briefing session is not to be taken as notice of approval. Anyone who has an application lodged with the Shire must obtain and should only rely on written confirmation of the outcome of the application and any conditions attached to the decision made by council. An audio and visual record will be made by means of live streaming of these proceedings and uploaded to the Shire's YouTube page for viewing. Acknowledgement of country. The Shire of Harvey acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal communities, their cultures and to elders present and emerging. Record of apologies and leave of absence. We have Councillor John Bromham who is attending online. Just confirming, Councillor Bromham, that you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, John, and just once again, you're quite soft, so I don't know if there's a volume issue, but we can hear you just. And leave of absence, we have Councillor Holly on an approved leave of absence. Otherwise, all councillors are accounted for. Declarations of members and officers' personal interest. Are there any councillors or staff? None, thank you. We'll move into deputations, and we have a number of deputations this afternoon. So I'll go in order that they were received. Can I invite Mr. Ken Hart to address council in relation to the Brunswick River Cottages notice of motion from Councillor Carboni as listed in item 6 of this agenda. Welcome, Mr. Hart, back to the chambers. I'll just get you to turn the mic on and then that's it.
Exactly.
You're right.
You're
Thank
happy.
you, Ken.
Sorry, John, you wouldn't have heard a thing I just said. Thank you. Yeah, the last time I stood up here, the council very graciously gave the Brunswick River Cottages a $750,000 loan. So let's hope this is just as successful when you consider this motion on the 24th. You'll be pleased to know that we're $130,000 ahead of that loan. So very mindful of the fact that we need to accrete that as quickly as we can. Thanks very much for letting me come and speak to you all today. Firstly, I'll just say I did watch your, I think it was Leschenault city status meeting last night on the live stream. So good luck with that. I think it's a great initiative and congratulations to the councillors that are promoting that and pushing it forward. I've just had a quick chat to a couple of the councillors. So the Noongar word for beebenup, for milk is beebenup. So if you're looking for a city name, I think that's very relevant for our Shire, isn't it? Councillor Carboni, what do you think? No. So thanks. I'm Ken Hart. I'm the chair of the Brunswick River Cottages, and we're here obviously to discuss the items that are on your agenda for next week. So I thank Councillor Carboni for getting these motions put in forward and the staff for writing them up appropriately because my scribblings weren't good enough. Just a little bit about the Brunswick River Cottages for new councillors or those that aren't too familiar with us. In 2002 there was a community want in Brunswick to provide some housing for low income retirees, and out of that a committee was formed in partnership with the Shire that still exists today. Obviously we exist underneath you guys and administer the site on your behalf. Out of that meeting, the committee was established in 2002, a working group that saw the completion of stage 1, the first 8 units in 2002. In 2007, 2020, stage 2, another 8 units with 3 lease for life also. That's what we're here to ask for the loan for, the lease for life units. And last year we had the completion of the site project in total. So stage 3 saw another 12 units delivered for our wonderful community in Brunswick. So that represents 31 sites or units with a mix of rental and lease for life on site. So 31 with 56 people housed, which is fantastic. The housing stress between stage 2 and stage 3 was just enormous. When we were interviewing people to become residents at Brunswick, we went from stage 2 where people were impressing on us that we were kind of a second bet for them and a hedge, to stage 3 where we literally had people crying in front of us who were living in sheds and caravans in backyards, experiencing real housing stress. So we're very proud of the fact that we provide housing now, low cost, affordable retiree, over 65s, essentially housing for 56 people. In a snapshot, our site is a valuation, insurance valuation of 15 mil, just for your information. 23 of those units are under 10 years old, so we don't have a huge maintenance issue at the moment, but we have in reserve $320,000 against long and short-term maintenance, so we're all prepared for that. In the bank, we are sitting at 1.37 million, and that's all sitting and earning 4% in investment accounts, all set up and ready for us to go. 800 of that is a holding account for our lease for lives. We offer a model where they buy in at a certain rate, which at the moment is $375,000, and that return is guaranteed at 75% and benchmarks out over 5 years. So they'll get what's that work out to? About a 275 guaranteed return after 5 years. So that's us in a snapshot. Our monthly income rental, just giving you an idea that we're financially sound, is $37,000 a month, which is fantastic. So we're very proud of where we are, so that's why we're standing in front of you here today, because at the completion of the stage 3, we are now without any further land to develop. We're landlocked. We do have extra land on site there in Brunswick, but it's not appropriate for development because it fails, the test against flood zones and fire lines as well. So the motions in front of you are to seek support to access and rezone land within the boundaries of the town of Brunswick. We're a very proactive committee, very talented people. It's full of small business owners and town planners and project engineers, and we're just not done with project work at the moment. We don't feel the committee's ready to become a facilities manager. So we're looking around the Brunswick town sites and have identified 2 sites for consideration. So the first one is the lot 4871 Talbot Road, which is known locally as Talbot Reserve. Not a lot of people knew it was called Talbot Reserve, including the Talbot family, surprisingly enough. And you'll have a letter in support of this consideration from the Talbot family as well. Public reserves, I get and understand as the chair of the committee, are an essential part of town planning, and we need to keep our town reserves. This one is tucked away at the back of town, never utilised, never looked upon, and I'm sure when it was gazetted in 1952, it allowed the Shire to meet the requirements for total land area as set aside as town reserves. Since then, we've graciously and favourably accepted the Channel Park as a public open reserve as well, so I'm sure that tips us over. So if anybody's got any concerns about getting close to the margins you require within towns for public open reserves or public reserves, I'm sure the Channel Park addition keeps us safe and where you want us to be. It's a gently sloping place. It's an irregular site, so I'm not sure if any of the staff members know how big that site actually is. I approximate it to be 3/4 of an acre. So from my perspective, given what we've already done on the land along Clifton Road in Brunswick, I think we can get another 18 units. Well, just on Talbot Reserve. So again, that allows us to provide much needed housing, as I'm sure we're all aware of the housing crisis, and especially in the low income retiree space. So that will give us another 18 units. It's got a great outlook over Wedderburn Farm, the Talbot Farm, and across the hillsides. I think it'd be a perfect little location to place another nice community that would complement what we already have in town. The second lots in front of you is adjacent lots of 38 and 39 Reading Street, which I believe is 16 and 14 on your maps. They are long vacant Homes West lots. Just asking Andy Dalton, who's a neighbour at the back, he believes they were cleared 8 years ago and still haven't been developed. So obviously Homes West don't have a big want or need to develop those at the moment. So again, if we could, through you guys, approach the Housing Minister to have that land vested to the BRC as well. It's only 3 quarter-acre housing lots away from the first Talbot Reserve lot I mentioned, so it's a nice proximity to where we would like to place some more units. So they're adjacent lots, giving us another half acre, which I believe will give rise to another 6 units. So we have the possibility in front of us of providing another 24 low-income housing units, retiree units. The third matter on the agenda is the Shire investigating budget allocation for the BRC. We met with the Shire, and that was our President and CEO and councillors last year, it'd be 12 months ago, where it was made quite clear to us that there was no money available for land purchases. So this is how we're thinking outside of the box now about just considering a rezone. The Rivers Cottages Committee are fully aware and go into this project, or this consideration, with eyes wide open around your ability as a Shire to fund or contribute to a future project. Okay, eyes wide open. There's no pressure on you guys from us. We appreciate that if we are successful in gaining some land, then we go into grant applications and stuff with the state or federal governments, whoever it may be at the time, seeking the funding to represent the Shire's limited capacity to contribute to it. I'm sure you'll be willing to and are able to contribute some. I know in the last project you contributed about 80,000 towards initial drafting and town planning considerations. So I'm sure that'll be the case again, but we are fully aware the Shire is limited in its ability to support another $5 million project. Okay. So can't stress enough that as a committee, we feel we need to be ready to take advantage of any grants or fundings that come around election times, which will be in the next couple of years. So we need to be ready. We can't apply and consider anything unless we have some land to go hand in hand with those grant applications. So that's it from me. So I hope I've stressed the point enough and the urgency of it. And for me, this is an easy fix for the River Cottages to secure some additional land within the Brunswick town site. It's returning a public reserve to better use, is the way I see it, and addressing our aged accommodation need further in Brunswick.
Thank you, Ken. Are there any questions, councillors? No? Right. So I just have one for the CEO. So in the first part of the notice of motion, write to the Minister and make representation. I gather that that's not a huge workload for staff to do, you know, that initial reaching out and seeking whether there's an appetite from these from the state government?
Look, it will require an initial approach and then further negotiation and follow-up. So we will have to allocate those works to a staff member to progress.
Okay. All right. That's all? No other questions? Thanks, Mr. Hart, for that. More than welcome to come back next week and see how you go. Thank you. Okay, I would like to invite Suzanne. I just see you come in, Suzanne. So to come forward to give council a deputation in response to the officer's recommendations and further elaborating on the wind turbine proposal impacts to the Shire of Harvey. Now that we're in the next feasibility stage, or the feasibility stage for the next 7 years. So, welcome back, Suzanne. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Firstly, the electors meeting I was so impressed with, and you have a huge degree of respect for your residents, more so than I've seen at any other electors meeting ever before, and I've attended several in a lot of locations. So I do appreciate the time and effort you put into that. That being said, I'm very disappointed in the officer's recommendation not to support the motions that the community unanimously supported at the electors meeting, but it's not surprising. Similar motions and meetings have been held at Busselton and Bunbury in the past months, and also tonight, just like I'm doing. Likewise, these councils sadly and surprisingly need convincing that our waters need protection from European multinational proponents who see the Australian waters and the Australian taxpayer as an unending pot of subsidies and funding with weak environmental laws and an even weaker government. Speaking with councillors and attending meetings in Bunbury and Busselton and Harvey, I have been told by some councillors that local government really is not the place to address this issue. Yet one of the top 5 responsibilities of local government is to protect the local environment. You are the avenue for residents to voice our concerns to the state and federal levels. So please do not minimise the support you as elected members can give the community in this regard, and do not handball such important issues that will have dire impacts for your community. Some of the risks to the entire southwest community, not just Harvey, are environmental impacts of a scale absolutely unknown to Australian waters. Flow on from this to the local tourism impacts of the dolphin discovery, whale tours, cruise ships, fishing charters, economic impact to the wider community from these, the fishing industry, the rock lobster industry, the octopus industry. Then we have safety concerns. Large portions of Geograph Bay will be off limits to safety zones. And then one thing that's never even been raised or considered are the security concerns. Interference from radar scatter, a known impact. This was justification for numerous nations, including Sweden and the USA, which recently cancelled at least 13 offshore wind turbine projects for this reason. Referring to the officer's recommendation, the officer states, as no construction activities have commenced on any wind turbine infrastructure, there has been no contravention of the EPBC Act 1999. According to point 1, it cannot be substantiated at this stage. So the feasibility stage is open for 7 years. From offshore regulators' own site, they state geophysical investigations for offshore renewables use different types of equipment and survey methods with much lower sound levels and lower potential for environmental impact. The key word there is potential, so there definitely will be environmental impact. To an area that just this year, only a matter of 1st of January, the state government declared species at extinction level risk. Further to this, the officer states, the wind farm approval process being under federal government jurisdiction, any allegations of non-compliance should be referred to the federal departments responsible. This is exactly what I was asking the Shire of Harvey to do. The Shire of Harvey is a stakeholder and the major stakeholder as far as shires go. Way more than the City of Bunbury, way more. It's just quite unbelievable. Further to this, the officer states, the Shire will advocate for a position on the Bunbury Wind Industry Committee which will bring together stakeholders to consider the economic and social impacts for the region. Would it not be a given that the Shire of Harvey is on this committee, as the Shire are the stakeholders and will be impacted the most? Why would we have to apply to be on this committee? It should be a given. And would this committee also not have the utmost priority to consider the environmental impacts, not just the social impacts and the economic impacts? Surely the environment has to be up there at the top. Which brings me to part 2 of my motion. Request Honourable Roger Cook, Honourable Jackie Jarvis and the Honourable Reece Whitby to support an immediate moratorium on all proposed offshore wind infrastructure in Geograph Bay as support of the State Government's Thursday 1 January 2026 demersal ban, which lists the endemic jewfish at severe risk. What was the officer's recommendation to this motion? I can see no reference to this request at all. The support was unanimous. Will you, as councillors, write to the State Government requesting an immediate moratorium in support of the demersal ban? Please do not say that this is a state jurisdiction, so refer to state departments responsible. We were asking you, as our Shire representatives, where this is going to be impacted the most, to do just that. Let's not be blind to the fact that these multinational organisations are not in this job for the environment or the altruistic pursuits of a better world. No, they're in this for the coin, the dollar, the ongoing taxpayer subsidies. This is a big, dirty and very profitable business, and the little population of Harvey, our environment, our community, means absolutely nothing to them. The amazing coral reef system, nothing. The perfection of a WA sunset, nothing. The fertile farmland that will require another set of high-tension power cables, nothing. This proposal coming from the seats of Canberra, from those who have never walked a day in the lives of a local Harvey residents, how dare they offer up our ocean for an environmental experiment? What do we get out of this, other than an ocean littered with turbines, an unmitigated environmental disaster for our marine system, intermittent, highly expensive power, not owned by West Australians, but paid for by us, continually, might I add. Another set of high-tension power lines above ground, because that's cheaper for the proponents. They will only underground it where there's bush and where they have to. So in the Harvey farmland region, oh no, it's all above ground. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So please become a passionate NIMBY, because if you, as our elected members, you should be protecting, promoting and bettering the Shire of Harvey at every opportunity. If you're not passionate about your own backyard, you don't deserve to be sitting here taking up space. And only people that are offended by that are doing exactly that. Because if you're doing the right thing, those words won't offend you. I don't propose to know everything about wind turbines. I have done a lot of investigation. I've spoken to many proponents at length with the offshore regulator on what is proposed. It's a very moving and fluid industry. So the turbines from 2 years ago are now substantially over 30% higher than what they proposed. And of note, there is no reason or justification that any proponent the government has not given for them to state what height turbines they will install in the Geograph Bay. They don't have to do that as part of their proposal. They can put whatever height they like at the time of installation. It just beggars belief. Anyway, that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I'm in no way an expert. I'm just a very passionate person who wants to protect our oceans, and I have no other interest, no vested interest, just a resident.
Thanks, Suzanne. I will go to any questions from councillors. I just wanted to let you know, Suzanne, that over the period of a couple of years, we have written to, the Shire has written to Minister Bowen back in 2024 in relation to concerns about, at that stage we'd been approached by a number of proponents, and we had written to them about acknowledging the federal government commitment to renewable energy. However, is keen to see a regulatory environment inclusive of local government finalised promptly. So encouraging or requesting that the federal government did speak to us at the Shire of Harvey. And also a submission that we put in, which I'm quite happy to share with you, just raising our concerns about planning approval, coastal setbacks, the visual impact buffers, a whole range of things that have been raised with the federal government as well. So we have had some correspondence. So I just wanted you to be aware that we haven't not done anything. We have
Yeah.
tried to engage
I'm aware of that.
at that level.
Yeah.
I did have a question for staff, and I'm just trying to find the motion because I felt that it dealt with two specific areas. One was the demersal fishing, and the other one was to do with the offshore wind farm. So I will chat to the CEO
Yep.
about maybe we need to. My thought we might need to separate that
Yep.
and make them two separate motions
Yeah.
for council to
With
consider.
with all due respect, you did contact in 2024. As I said, this has moved very quickly. We are now at feasibility studies, which will not go away. They're here for 7 years. That's the feasibility process. So they can come back, any proponent can come back within the next 7 years and put a proposal at any stage. So things have certainly increased in intensity. So therefore, I would expect that the Shire would definitely be in contact with both levels of government on this, because the testings, the feasibility studies do involve marine studies out there at any stage now. So the impacts are imminent.
Okay. Think. if
Is there
there's
no questions?
No questions.
No questions at all, please. This is the time, like...
Yep, Councillor
I
Collins.
think you spoke very well. I don't have any questions because you are very well informed and you presented very well. So, and this is the second time I've heard you,
Okay.
and I mean that well.
Thank
I mean
you.
that a good thing. But so I don't have any questions because you've answered everything that I would have asked, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, in advance.
Okay, there was, I think it was Councillor Bromman last time when I did a deputation.
It's online.
Oh,
yes.
is he? Sorry.
Yeah, he is here,
He
yeah.
mentioned that, you know, the gravity-based concrete plinths that they will be installing for however many hundred of turbines at this stage, it's anywhere from 400 to 1,100 out there, would actually give home for future marine life. And I don't believe I responded at the time, but it just, and I think it comes from a misplaced sense of thinking that things may improve or this is a green technology and looking for the upside of it. But marine life don't make homes on concrete plinths. You do get small, tiny marine life, but the big ones, the jewfish and all the big demersals and marine life and crayfish don't gravitate towards the concrete plinth of 500 square metres. It'll be decades and the wind turbines will have fallen into the ocean, broken down, and the Spanish and French companies that got their money from this abysmal proposal will be long gone, and there still will be big lumps of concrete out there doing nothing but polluting to destroy pristine reef, and that there absolutely is no justification for this. And the proponents are going here because they want to do gravity-based installation because it is cheaper, way cheaper than doing a floating installation. If they're pushed further out, they will likely, as far as the offshore regulator that I spoke to, abandon the whole project because it's too expensive. So they're looking at doing gravity-based installations. Massive amounts of concrete, massive amounts of steel, massive, unbelievable desecration and destruction to the reef system that is the same reef system from Ningaloo. I've got photos here of this reef that people don't know it's out there. There's sunfish, there's penguins, there's Coral, that's unbelievable. Until you actually go out there and see it, you can't value it. So you would say comments like that because you haven't got the knowledge of what is actually out there and what is proposed to be destroyed. And mate, no two ways about this. This is destruction. It will require destruction of the reef out there.
I'll just go to Councillor Morley, Suzanne, because he does have a question. Councillor Morley.
No, I don't have a question, Suzanne. Councillor Coleman beat me to the to the comment. I don't have a question simply because you have eloquently and passionately put forward your case, and I ask you just to be a little bit patient with us over the next couple of weeks, please.
Okay. Yeah, taken on note. Thank you very much for your
Thank you,
time. I really
Suzanne.
appreciate it.
Thank you. All righty, I'll now compose myself as to see where I'm at. I have a written deputation that I have agreed to read out from Mrs. Amanda Lovett. So I'll just read it out as I have received it. And she writes, I have watched local government associations across the state for over 30 years make acknowledgement of country, welcome to country, and reconciliation action plans a priority for their areas, using First Nations naming protocols for local landmarks and areas gives a sense of place. To hear the Deputy Shire President use the term scrap the rap embarrassed me. The lack of cultural awareness, training and respect is not indicative of someone holding that position within the organisation. It is why the Shire's reputation is poor, and many residents say they live near Bunbury to lessen their association. I fully support the Shire pursuing and accepting the Reconciliation Action Plan and look forward to seeing the results. Righty-ho. And the second item that she would raise, and I will say that Mrs. Lovett indicated that she was not available to attend this concept meeting, correction agenda briefing today. So that's why I agreed to read it out. The second one is in relation to item 6, I commend action being taken to promote accommodation for seniors, yet wonder as to the appropriateness of further development in Brunswick Junction with its lack of public transport, amenities and retail space to support such development. As such, my question is, when will the Shire of Harvey actively advocate for aged care in the southern part of the Shire to support the hundreds of residents already living in independent accommodation in Brunswick, Treendale, Kingston and Australind who leave the Shire due to no aged care to support them in the next stage of their lives? Item 6 will simply create a further bottleneck for aged residents. I'll leave that as read. Thank you. I'd now like to invite Mr. Jim Johns to come forward in relation to, welcome Jim, first time I think I've seen you here. In relation to railway crossings, Harvey, Wokala. The floor's yours. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, I just want to raise it with council, the condition of the main railway crossing in Uduck Road there. It's a real disgrace. And it's been like it for years and years. And I know it's, every time I raise it with somebody, it's Arc Energy's problem or something. Not Arc Energy, the railway mob. Sorry?
You've got it half right, Arc Infrastructure.
Yeah, right. And it just keeps going on. And it's, the other one is the one at Wokelup. It's as rough as, it's got that curb barrier on the bitumen there. And in winter time, when it's raining and dark, there's all weeds growing over it. It should at least be painted and the weeds kept down or something. It's very dangerous. There's potholes in the bitumen near it and all that sort of thing. I just wanted to see if council can do something about the two railway crossings.
CEO?
I'll pass on to the Director of Infrastructure Services.
Through the Chair, Udock Road does sit with Arc Infrastructure. I've just recently confirmed that. They are still pushing back, trying to get us to do it. But they've recently sent through quotes, etc., and a work plan. But they are not giving me a date when they're going to start it
Yeah.
because there's numerous potholes. We have engaged with another party through Walga to try and help us advocate for it, and they are trying to do that. So my latest email was the 9th of February,
Oh,
so
okay.
roughly a week ago was the last communication I had with them. So we are actively trying to get that done.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. Are there any other deputations? No? Okay, thank you. I'll go back to my agenda. We'll now move into the officers' reports. So we'll go to 5.1, which is to deal with the lease agreement for the Brunswick Tennis Club. So, councillors, were there any questions, noting that Courtney's not here, but we'll do our best to answer. Were there any questions in relation to this lease? No? Happy? Thank you. I'll move on to 5.1.2, which is the annual general electors meeting. Any questions in relation to any of the officers' recommendations? Councillor Coleman.
Thanks, Madam President. I'm bringing it up because I had it noted as a question, but it's already been addressed by yourself, I think, and that was under motion 5.2 about the demersal hadn't been addressed. So I was going to bring that up and see if that was perhaps just an administrative omission that we could have a look at for the next, for the OCM.
Yeah, CEO, if we can just have a look at that one, because when I interpreted, I thought there were two particular issues, but they were...
Yes, you're
Thank you.
correct. There is an item there that hasn't been addressed in the officer's comment, so we can review the officer's comment and council can proceed with an amendment to the officer's recommendation at the OCM.
Sorry, we're more online, but will that be on Friday? So I was hoping to find it last Friday.
What will happen is that the ordinary council agenda will be published on Friday, and so any amendments will be made to the document and available then, Friday afternoon.
Okay, are there any other questions, councillors, in relation to any of the officers' recommendations? Remember, I've got Councillor Brobham sitting there, so I look up to the screen. Okay, we'll move on to infrastructure services, which is nil. We'll move into sustainable development, 5.3.1, which is the economic development strategy. Were there any questions around this one? Councillor Coleman.
Thanks, Madam President. It's actually a really good read, and I commend the authors of the report. My question is purely, given that we're still investigating city status, is anything likely to change? So is this perhaps a month or two premature to what we may or may not be deciding in the future? Because we don't know what that decision will be yet. So is this likely to change if we go forward if the community supports city status versus if we stay as a shire?
CEO?
I believe that the action that relates through in the economic development strategy is to investigate city status, which is currently what the Shire is undertaking, and when this document will be undertaking public consultation, that will still be the action that is currently being undertaken. If there is any change to the document that is required from a future decision of council, then that can be amended in the document prior to the adoption. I think the timing will allow that.
Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Hitchcock.
I just have a couple of quick ones. There was no mention of the library's literacy festival. Is that not being held in the future?
The Library Literacy Festival.
Through the chair, thanks for the question, councillor. There was a decision made last year to actually hold the Literacy Festival every 2 years, but there's also discussion at the moment about broadening the scope of that festival to include reading, writing, music and visual arts potentially. So that's kind of a conversation in train, but take your point about it not being included in the economic development strategy.
Okay.
We could certainly have a look at that.
Just one more.
Certainly.
So with regards to access and inclusion, does the strategy have a focus on assisting and encouraging businesses to become more accessible? This is a growing tourist area and could be a good way of creating competitive edge.
Sorry. When I reviewed the document, I don't believe that it did make reference to that, but that is something that we can take on board and can incorporate those comments and feedback into the draft document that is provided through to the public.
Okay, thank you.
The only question I had was around, I think there's a reference, if I recall, to the Southwest Dharma CEO, and I think there's a change happening with that management of the Southwest Dharma. If we can just follow
Yes,
that
we
up.
can review that.
Yeah, just review that one. No other questions, councillors? Yeah, thank you, Mr Johns. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to corporate services, 5.4.1, which is payments for January 2026. Do we have any questions, councillors? No. 5.4.2, financial statements as at the 31st of January 2026. Any questions, Councillor Coleman?
Thank you. Just wanted to, I noticed our cashback reserves are under, which is great in one sense, but how are we going with our reserves? Are we continuing to sort of maintain a reasonable level of our reserves?
CEO, happy with Mr Winter?
Thank you, through you, Madam President. The reason that we're under at this stage is we normally do the reserve transfers to the municipal fund at the end of the financial year. And so the amounts that we transfer are actually what we require to transfer, what has been spent from the municipal fund in reimbursing it. In relation to the amount of reserves that we have, it's been previously highlighted that we, as a shire, really should have a lot more reserves than we currently have. Our budget deliberations in trying to keep the rates down previously have not assisted us in putting more money into reserves, but with the production of the next long-term financial plan, one of the tasks that was given to staff was to show a plan to increase our reserves. So when that document comes back to council, we'll have a plan over the next 10 years how we can bolster cash into those reserves.
Thank you, Mr Winter. Any other questions, councillors? Thank you. I'll move into community and lifestyle, 5.5.1, which is the reconciliation action plan. Do we have any questions, councillors? No, thank you. Notice of motions, I have one from Councillor Caboni, which we had the deputation today by Mr Hart. Any further questions around that one? No, and then we have one from Councillor Bromham as well. No. Yeah,
Just the
Councillor
only
Caboni.
question I have, what's the current threshold?
So through the chair, depending on where it is, it's 5 million as far as I'm aware. 5 million. In regional WA.
Alrighty. No other questions? All right. Everyone's happy? That being the case, I declare this agenda briefing session closed, and thank you everyone for your deputations and your attendance today. Thank you.